Welcome back to my channel, guys. So today I'll be talking about World Cup qualification first round for the European games only. And I did try to cover all the games, but then it was difficult because there are a lot of games to cover up. So I'm just going to talk about those big games, and those four small games I'm just going to leave down a short prediction at the end of the video. And if you guys are one of those nation fans, if I didn't include your preview, please forgive me because there are a lot of games to cover up. Turkey versus Netherlands is the first game I'm going to talk about. Turkey, to be honest, they've been performing really well. They drew against Germany. They also drew against Croatia. They beat Russia. So I think this is some really good form. And on the other hand, Netherlands, we all know that they've been playing some tremendous football. They drew against Italy, Spain, they won against Poland. So these kind of form, you can say they are a good team. And if you look at head-to-head clashes between these two teams, they met each other 5 times in the last 10 years. And Turkey won once, drew once, and Netherlands 3 times. And to be honest, if you look at this, it is not that bad. And if you look at the latest meeting, it was a 3-0 win for Turkey. So I think Turkey will be confident coming into this fixture. I know Netherlands do have a lot of quality, but I feel like Turkey can play good as a team. So therefore, I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for Turkey 1, Netherlands 1. The next game I'm going to talk about is France versus Ukraine. To be honest, France are the World Cup champions, so it is going to be difficult to play against them. France, to be honest, recently they've been performing really well. If you look at the last 7 games, they only beat once. They only lost once, I should say. And it was against Finland, so it is kind of interesting. But then, other than that, this team is playing some really good football. They beat Portugal. They won 7-1 against Ukraine. They beat Croatia. So this is some really good form line. On the other hand, if you look at Ukraine form line, I'm not going to say they are in good form line because in the last 7 games, they only won twice. But then if you look at the fixture, they've been playing against Switzerland, Spain, Germany, Poland. So I think this is some difficult form line for them. So I'm not really going to say they're performing that bad. But then if you look at this group is really wide open because you got some really, really good teams in this group. You got Bosnia, you got Finland, you got France and Ukraine. So all these teams are a really good team, and I think an upset is possible for France. So France will have to be really aware, and I think France will have to get the job done so that they can get some early momentum. So from a prediction, I'm just going to back France. I think France will have a little bit more quality. We all know that France do have some really good players. So therefore, I'm going to go for France 3, Ukraine 0. Finland versus Bosnia. This is another very interesting game. And as I said just now, this is a very tough group and anything is possible. So I do think both of these teams will be looking at the group table. They will be like, we are in a tough group. But then on the other hand, they will be saying that hopefully our opposition can beat France because they are the best team in the group. So if something happened to France, I think both of these teams will really fancy themselves. But to be honest, I think Ukraine likely to be the favorite to finish second at this stage. But then I think anything is possible. Finland, to be honest, if you look at the last 7 games, they've been performing well. They beat Ireland twice. They beat France, they beat Bulgaria, and they lost 3-1 against Wales. But I still think this is some really good form line. On the other hand, if you look at Bosnia form line, to be honest, they are not really performing well like they used to perform. Like, let's go back to maybe 2013. They did perform really well in that season. So I think this is a complete different team. But then I think they will be confident because they do have some good players, I should say. But then I'm not going to say they have enough quality to qualify for World Cup once again. Like, anything is possible. But I just think that this team is not in the right direction unless they pick up quickly. So for this game, I think it's going to be tough. But I'm going to back Finland to win this game. I'm going to go for Finland 1, Bosnia 0. This is Croatia. This is another very interesting game. Slovenia, if you look at the last 7 form line, they are not playing against some top teams. But I still think they're unbeaten. So this is some good sign for them. On the other hand, for Croatia, they've been playing some tough games against Portugal, Sweden, Turkey, France. So you can say they are coming through some tough form lines. So I think this will give them a lot more easier task, and I think they will be confident. It is going to be a tough game because Slovenia are a good team. As I said, they've been performing well recently. It doesn't matter what is their form line, but generally they've been performing well. So no matter what, they're going to make their life difficult. And for Croatia, we all know that they do have a lot of quality players. They were World Cup finalists, and they're going to back themselves to qualify once again. If you look at their group, to be honest, their group is not that difficult. I'm not going to say it's a wide open group. It is a really deep group because they got Russia, Slovenia, Slovakia. Like, all these teams are good teams. But then if you really compare the quality with Croatia, I think they don't have a lot of quality like Croatia. I think Russia is the closest team that can beat Croatia in this group. So for this game, I'm just going to say Croatia quality will be a little bit too much for them. I'm going to go for Croatia 1, Slovenia 0. Belgium versus Wales. To be honest, I'm not going to say Belgium do have a good attack this time around because they do have a lot of strikers injuries. But then still, I think generally they do have some really good midfielders. And I think they are one of those players who can win you matches with their individual brilliance. And if you look at Belgium form line, to be honest, they are the best team in the world right now in terms of FIFA ranking. They are first. And if you look at the form line, they've been playing some good football. If you look at the last 5 games, the only defeat came against England. And they could have easily won that game because they were the better team. And then after that, they beat Iceland, Switzerland, and then they beat England. And then they beat Denmark. So this is some good form line. On the other hand, if you look at Wales form line, to be honest, they are performing well. But then if you look at the team they played against, I'm not going to say they are those tough opposition. They are kind of an easier one compared to Belgium form line. And if you look at this group, I think these two are the teams that are going to battle out for the first and second spot. So therefore, it is already a very important game for both of these teams. It is going to be a close one. Wales will try to rely on Bale a lot in terms of scoring goals. But then generally, I'm not going to say they have enough quality to beat Belgium. I think it's going to be a one-sided affair. I'm going to go for Belgium 3, Wales 1. Serbia versus Ireland. This is a very interesting game. If you look at Serbia form line, they've been performing well in the last 9 games. They only lost once. On the other hand, if you look at Ireland form line, I think it is a very disappointing form line because in the last 7 games, they actually lost all of them, or I should say they won none of them. And they are actually struggling to score goals, but then they are keeping some clean sheets because in their last 7 games, they got 3 clean sheets, and it is not that bad. And their worst defeat was against England 3-0. Other than that, they've been losing 1-0. So I think defensively, this team is a very organized team. And it is going to be tough for Serbia. And I think Ireland will be eager to get a draw out of this game. And if they can get a draw out of this game, I think they will have some good momentum. If you look at their group is kind of a one-sided affair because I think Portugal will top. But then second place is wide open. So I think a lot is depending on this game. So therefore, I think both of these teams will fight out for a good result. A draw is already a win for Ireland, and if it is a draw, it is a defeat for Serbia because Serbia will have to win at home. So from a prediction, I'm actually going to back Serbia because I know their form line is not that strong, but then they do have some good form line, and they drew against Turkey, Scotland, they beat Russia. So I think this is some good form line. So therefore, I'm gonna go for Serbia 1, Wales 0. Portugal versus Azerbaijan. To be honest, I think this game is going to be one-sided. And as I mentioned, I think Portugal will actually run away with this group. And I think they'll top this group because they got some players who can win you matches with their individual brilliance. I'm not going to say Cristiano Ronaldo is the only one because they got Diego Jota, they got Joao Felix, they got Pedro Neto, they got Ruben Neves, they got Rafa Silva, they got Bernardo Silva, they got Bruno Fernandes. So like you can say they have some good players. On the other hand, for Azerbaijan, if you look at the form line, maybe you'll say it is good because they've been getting some draws but then also defeats. So like those form line, I think it's going to be difficult for them to hold on to Portugal. I'm going to go for Portugal 4, Azerbaijan 0. Bulgaria versus Switzerland. To be honest, this is a very interesting game, and I think both of these teams will be eager to get a good start, especially Switzerland because they got Italy in their group. So this is going to make their life difficult no matter what. Bulgaria, to be honest, I think this team can pull off some upsets, and I do know they did before, but I can't recall which matches. But then, to be honest, this team can be a very scary team. But recently, their form line is not good. But once again, don't look at their form line because I know this team can pull off some good results. On the other hand, for Switzerland, once again, the form line looks pretty bad. But then, if you look at the opposition they're playing against, it is acceptable. So therefore, I think I'm going to back Switzerland to win this game. I'm sure Bulgaria would try to do something, get an early goal and then try to sit back and something like that. But then I think against a team like Switzerland, and I'm pretty sure Switzerland are aware of the circumstances because if they screw up this game, they can be in a deep trouble because their group, Italy, are most likely going to top this group. So if they mess around against this lower-ranked team, they can actually pay the consequences. So therefore, I think Switzerland will be very, very aware. So therefore, I'm going to go for Switzerland 2, Bulgaria 1. Sweden versus Georgia. It is Zlatan homecoming, but I think this is going to be a decent win for them, even though their recent form line is very, very bad because in the last 7 games they lost 5 of those. But I still think they have enough quality. They got some really good players, and I think they can win this match. Georgia, I'm not gonna say they're playing bad football, but then once again, if you look at the opposition they've been playing against, it is not good opposition. So therefore, I'm gonna go for Sweden to win this game. Sweden 2, Georgia 0. Scotland versus Austria. I think this is a decent game. Scotland, they've been performing well. I'm not gonna say they are at their best, but then if you look at the form line, it is fair enough, and we can't really say they've been performing bad or good. On the other hand, same goes to Austria, but then Austria are winning matches, so I think that's a difference. It is going to be a tight affair. I think both of these teams do have some good players, and if you look at their group is a tough group because they got some good teams, and I think Denmark, Austria, and Scotland are going to try to battle out for the top 2 spot. So therefore, this game is going to be a very important one, but then I'm happy to go with a draw. I'm going to go for Scotland 1, Austria 1. Germany versus Iceland. This is going to be a really decent game to watch. Germany, to be honest, they'll be eager to get a good start over here because we all know that they lost 6-0 against Spain in the last game. So this is going to make this game interesting, and I think Germany will be eager to get a good result in the first game of the World Cup qualification. Iceland, on the other hand, if you look at the last 7 games, they only won once, and it was against Romania. Afterward, they've been playing against some really, really tough opposition. England, Belgium, Denmark. So I think those fixtures were really tough for them. So over here, Iceland will try to park the bus because we all know that this team can sit back really, really well. But then once you score a goal against them, I think you can score a few against them. So this is going to be an interesting game, but I'm happy to go with Germany ways. I'm going to go for Germany 3, Iceland 0. Versus Northern Ireland. I'm pretty sure Italy will be happy with this draw because they got some decent team in the group because Switzerland are a good team, but then afterward I think the other opposition are not that strong. So I think Italy will be happy because we all remember what happened. They couldn't even qualify for last World Cup. So I think Italy will be eager to get a good start and sit in a comfortable position right away. Italy form line, to be honest, it is not that bad because they've been winning good matches. I'm gonna say their opposition are tough, but they were not the toughest teams in Europe. The toughest team they faced was Netherlands. But then look at Northern Ireland form line. They didn't play against good teams. They were those average teams. So I think Italy will back themselves to win this game. It is going to be a good game. Northern Ireland will try to make some chances and maybe sneak in a point out of this game, but I think at the end of the day it's going to be difficult. I'm happy to go with Italy to win this game with a scoreline of 2-0. Spain versus Greece. To be honest, Spain did make a lot of changes compared to their last squad in the international break. So this is some interesting thing, but then I still think this team do have a little bit more quality. Even though Greece recently they've been performing well, they're slowly picking up. We all remember after their last World Cup qualification, they did play really bad. They did fall apart a lot. But then recently they've been bouncing back, and I think it is a good sign for them. But then a team like Spain, it's going to be difficult no matter what. I'm going to go for Spain 1, Greece 0. England versus San Marino. I'm pretty sure most of you guys will be waiting for this game prediction. So if you look at this game, to be honest, San Marino in the last 3 games, they actually got 2 draws. But then the opposition they got, those draws are not the best team in Europe. They are actually one of those worst team in Europe. So therefore, I think this game is going to be tough for San Marino. On the other hand, for England, I don't have to say much because they have a good squad, they have good form line, they have some really hungry players, and I think those players will be eager to score some goals because England squad for Euros is still not confirmed, because I still think there are going to be a lot of changes because England do have a lot of talent. So therefore, I think whoever get the opportunity to play against San Marino, I think they will try to score some goals. So therefore, for this game prediction, I'm gonna go for England 7, San Marino 0. So these are the predictions that I didn't do a preview of, so you guys can just check the prediction out. And that's the end for this video as well. So if you guys did enjoy, please give a big thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in another World Cup qualification prediction video.